I was very happy to welcome the two Seanadóirs to Belfast City Hall. I think it's Rose, this might be your first time up, and now I think you've been in the corridors once or twice in the past. Today was a really interesting meeting, and I'm very thankful for the members of the women's movement who came in to meet with us. It was a really interesting discussion. I know that I learned an awful lot from the discussion, and I'm sure you guys did too.
Yeah, it was hugely interesting for me, specifically when I was coming to Belfast, and I want to thank Niall and Mary Ellen for facilitating it. Because of it being the 16 days of action opposing violence against women, I wanted to speak to women's groups here to share the experience, because I think there's a real richness in us being able to exchange to have an exchange of learning around the whole issue of violence against women and domestic violence, because it's a crime in the north in the same way that it's a heinous crime in the south, and it has to be tackled. And what I'm trying to do, I suppose, here is trying to have the exchange of that learning so we don't continue to be reinventing the wheel. We have to move on, we have to address the problem, we have to look at the parts of legislation that need to be urgently put in place to protect women and children from the heinous crime of domestic violence. And I think in us sharing today on the issue and discussing in the time that allowed here, I think it brought us forward somewhere. I'm very much looking forward to coming back again, to talking to these women's groups and to talking on how we can work on an all-island basis to address the serious problem of domestic violence. And I do want to acknowledge the great work that's been done, not only by the women that I met today, but the other people who are working to combat the crime of domestic violence, and that's women and men out in the communities doing the best that they can to address the problem, and I really want to acknowledge that.
Well, Rose's visit today is part and parcel of our plan to not just bring the north into the Seanad, but to bring the Seanad into the north as well, and to look at what we can do as a body to assist across the island. As Rose very rightly said, domestic violence is an issue that affects people in all walks of life in every corner of Ireland. It's a mad situation that we don't take an all-island approach to addressing the situation, to looking at best practice from other examples around the world, to looking at policing cooperation, to look at judicial cooperation around addressing the very serious problems that exist, often hidden within our society. So certainly from Rose's perspective as our group leader in the Seanad, when she was coming to Belfast, she was very acutely aware and determined to come and meet with the women's sector and with organisations working in this field. From my perspective as someone who sits on the Justice Committee in the Oireachtas, I wanted to hear that first-hand experience from the sector as well. I think it's been a good, informative day. There's a lot of follow-up work that needs to take place now on a range of issues. I look forward to meeting with an even broader representation of the women's sector when Rose comes up next for another constituency visit to meet and then hopefully build on the issues that have been outlined for us today.